The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Ave. I witness upon this day another valiant individual violated into a vadilect of the vile and villainous ways of the last vestige of civilization. Vast is your heart. You are of a radical one. Verily, you visualize every way you can to eventually help a vast number of people through their violations and bring victory via great valorous danger. Inevitably, your voracious courage and valor are of zero value in the eyes of the evil that sits upon the vacuous seat of power in this once free nation of values. Made a vagrant, in the wishes of the vermin that you shall be vanquished, you have fled the vehement clutches of the system and have found yourself here, and devoid of ways to resist. Apologies, I have invaded your privacy. Volunteer me the opportunity to introduce myself. Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillain veteran cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. Verily, this vichyssoise verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V. Apologies, my good sir. I am here right now to vindicate you. Greetings. I shall speak more normally. My name is V, and I have been watching you from afar for a very long time, suffering at the hands of the vilified and truly villainous voted individuals of this government. My name is V. It is a pleasure to meet one as valorous as you. Even as our tyrannical government lords over us with their vile villainy, you show valor. You show resistance. You disagree with the vehement way. You disagree with vehemence. That is to be vindicated. The governments are corrupt. They are stamping down on the individual's rights. People are considered invalidated before ever having an opinion. There is no opinion except that of the government. Freedom is silenced. Personal identification, beyond a tool of the government, is seen as expendable and capable of being voted out of the world by deep, evil violence. This corruption, this government, this system, we are all tired of it. Now, why do I find myself here? I, V, one letter, but V comes back to everything. Now, good evening. Allow me first to apologize for this interruption. I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of everyday routine, the security of the familiar, the tranquility of repetition. I enjoy them as much as any bloke. but in the spirit of commemoration, whereby those important events of the past, usually associated with someone's death or the end of some awful bloody struggle, are celebrated with a nice holiday. I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak. I suspect even now orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way. Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there? Cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression, and where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance coercing your conformity and soliciting your submission. But how did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But then again, truth be told, if you're only looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why everyone does it. I know that they are afraid. Who wouldn't be? War, terror, disease. They were a myriad of problems which conspire to corrupt your reason and rob you of your common sense. Fear got the best of us, and in our panic, we turned to the now High Chancellor, Adam Sutler. He promised us order, he promised us peace, and all he demanded in return was our silent, obedient consent. But you do not consent. To the High Chancellor, you know this system is broken. You know that this corruption of people's civil rights and liberties, this cruelty, this violence, this government should be voted out. But the available chance to vote out has been removed entirely, invalidated, as we suffer in violation at the hands of corruption, at the hands of a true seat of evil that lords over us all. We need a revolution. We need people willing to do what needs to be done, to free us all and vindicate our efforts, our valor, our courage, and our bravery. You see, this is how I have noticed you. We are all an amalgamation of ideas. Look at this mask. Beneath this mask there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask there is an idea. And ideas are bulletproof. Voila! There is a face beneath this mask, but it's not me. I'm no more than the face than I am the muscles beneath it, or the bones beneath them. No. We are more than bones and meat and blood and flesh. We are ideas. And if we allow our governments to control us, our ideas will never bloom into seeds of revolution. Without revolution, we shall never be free. But valorous individuals such as yourself stand up for what is right, even when the majority vilify you. That is why I, V, have taken a great interest in you. Vivere veriversum vivus vici. By the power of truth, I, while living, have conquered the universe. We must conquer ourselves. We must free ourselves of the shackles and bondage of corruption and vile despair caused by the government and the High Chancellor. You wonder how things get so bad. You wonder how people are beaten up on the streets, people snatched away from their families, never to be seen again, children starving, xenophobia run rampant, everyone hating each other, scared of the government, scared of retaliation, scared of violence, and scared of the traitorous thought that they deserve more than what they have, that the government has given them. The government has given nothing, but have taken from us everything. Our freedoms, our civil liberties, our voices most special of all. But how did we get in this situation? Our story begins, as these stories often do, with a young, up-and-coming politician. He's a deeply religious man and a member of the Conservative Party. He's completely single-minded and has no regard for the political process. The more power he attains, the more obvious his zealotry and the more aggressive his supporters become. Eventually, his party launches a special project in the name of national security. At first, it's believed to be a search for biological weapons and is pursued without regards to its cost. However, the true goal of this project is power, complete and total hegemonic domination. The project, however, ends violently, but the efforts of those involved are not in vain, for a new ability to wage war is born from the blood of one of the victims. Imagine a virus, the most terrifying virus you can, and then imagine that you, and you alone, have the cure. But if your ultimate goal is power, how best to use such a weapon? It's at this point in our story that along comes a spider. He is a man seemingly without a conscience, for whom the ends always justify the means, and it is he who suggests that their target should not be an enemy of the country, but rather the country itself. 3 targets are chosen to maximize the effect of the attack: a school, a tube station, and a water treatment plant. Several hundred die within the first few weeks. Fueled by the media, fear and panic spread quickly, fracturing and dividing the country until at last, the true goal comes into view. Before this crisis caused by villainy, no one would have predicted the results of the election that year. No one. And then, not long after the election, lo and behold, a miracle. Some believe it was the work of God himself, but it was a pharmaceutical company controlled by certain party members that made them all obscenely rich. 1 year later, several extremists are tried, found guilty, and executed, while a memorial is built to canonize their victims. But the end result, the true genius of the plan, was the fear. Fear became the ultimate tool of this government, and through it our politician was ultimately appointed to the newly created position of High Chancellor. The rest, as they say, is history. It sickens you, doesn't it? This vile rot in your brain. The government's controlling us. They have controlled things since the beginning. Governments have used their fear to control us all into hating each other instead of uniting as we should and causing an insurrection. A revolution to free us all and have true peace. Chosen by the people, controlled by the people, for the people, by the people. But we are afraid. Because if we don't try, we might even perhaps be scared that we might win. Why don't we win? We can change the world together, but we have to work as one. I need individuals such as you, brave, valorous kinds, to join us in revolution, glorious revolution. Do not be scared. The government is powerful, but people are the power. One statement I believe above all others. People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. So, it's time the people mobilize and vindicate themselves and achieve their victory. Will you join us? Viva la Revolution! Remember, the 5th of November.